I wanted to take a little moment this evening to talk about Ouroboros, the tail devourer, literally. It's a fascinating symbol which comes up time and time again, especially in alchemical texts and works. I'm currently showing you some images from the book Alchemy and Mysticism by Alexander Rube. I'll put some links in the description. And I was really fascinated to find out that this symbol comes up time and time again throughout history in various civilizations. You can find it in some of the early Vedas in Hinduism. The very first instance apparently is from an Egyptian text. The earliest currently known instance is from 14 centuries BCE. And it's a fascinating symbol. This particular instance was from Cleopatra the alchemist, who is one of the 4 women alchemists to have made the Philosopher's Stone, apparently. I found that out this evening on Wikipedia. And yeah, I thought I'd take a little moment to talk about its significance, what it means, at least to me. And if you don't mind, if you've got your own thoughts about the Ouroboros, then please, by all means, share them down in the comments. For now, I'd like to talk about the symbolism that it has, for me at least, is the universe which is self-sustaining and which is a great cycle of life and death. I got thinking about this yesterday evening, as it happens. I was sitting in my flat. It was a hot evening. I had the door of the balcony open, and I noticed that a bee had made its way in and had clearly exhausted itself because it was just lying on the window sill. It had clearly got in through the balcony door and not managed to find its way back out. So I found a piece of paper and encouraged it to crawl on, and it did. It managed to get itself onto the piece of paper. And then I brought it out onto the balcony and just left it on a lavender flower. Now, if you've ever seen a lavender flower, they're kind of tall things with lots of tiny little blue flowers all around them, right? And the bee kind of crawled around trying to find an open flower. It eventually found one. It stuck its little head in, saw its little tongue sticking out, and it kind of found its strength again, and it fell asleep for a few minutes, and then it flew off. And I went back into the flat, and I was thinking, what a lovely experience, how nice. And I just had this great feeling of gratitude, and it was just a lovely moment of nature in the middle of the city, right? Because I live in the middle of a city. And I was sitting in my chair, and still with the balcony door open, and then a mosquito came in, and it was just a proper mosquito, right? And it just started darting all over the place, right? You know how mosquitoes are, how annoying they can be. And I was thinking, what a different experience, right? This is actually a smaller creature, and I feel nothing but annoyance at it, right? Or animosity, like straight up. And I thought, what's the difference here? We've got 2 creatures, neither of which has stung me, both of which have the potential to sting me. And yet with the bee, I felt joy, real joy. And with this mosquito, I could probably kill it if I could be bothered. And I thought, well, let me just stay with that impression for a moment and think about why. And of course, it's quite obvious. The bee is a source of life for me, right? Thanks to the bee, I have food. The mosquito, well, I'm the source of life for it, right? It's not thanks to the mosquito that I'm alive. It's thanks to me that the mosquito can survive. And then I thought to myself, but actually, it's not personal. It's not the mosquito's fault. The mosquito is designed to feed off blood. And there's blood in my body, right? So it's actually not because it hates me or, it's not anything like that. That it is designed to hunt for blood. And I thought, you know what? Actually, the mosquito is the only link that I have. I don't live in Australia, mind you, but it's the only link that I have back to the circle of existence, of life, right? The cycle, the food chain. Everything else I get to eat. Well, I'm a vegetarian, so I tend not to eat meat anymore. Nevertheless, as a human being, we are at the top of the food chain. We eat everything else. We consume everything else. And the mosquito is the one thing that takes our life force. They're then eaten by birds, right? And so we get to re-enter that circle of life before our physical death. It's well known that when we die, of course, ashes to ashes and dust to dust, right? The maggots eat us, and in that way we do return into this circle of life. But thanks to the mosquito, we get to do that before our death. We get to give back. And I thought to myself, well, actually, maybe I shouldn't be feeling animosity towards the poor little mosquito who doesn't know any better, but rather gratitude. Maybe I should look at mosquito bites not with animosity and maybe not anger, but irritation, right? And maybe I should think of mosquito bites as a badge of honor. This is the point where I managed to get a little bit of my physical being back into the cycle of existence. It's a moment of consideration, which I was very, very grateful yesterday evening, and I thought I'd share it with you. And to me, that's exactly what the Ouroboros represents. It's the universe, no part of which is in fact at the head, despite what our ego likes to tell us. But if we can look beyond our ego, getting angry when we are returned to the cycle, but rather see ourselves as the whole universe, of which our small self is only a little part. I think there's happiness in there, in that. I think there's at least a relaxation in that, possibly. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and thanks very much as always for watching. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up. It always helps me, and to subscribe if you haven't already. We can talk about some other esoteric symbols over the coming weeks. That would be quite interesting if you are into that. If you're interested, let me know if that sounds like a good idea as well. Okay, so thanks ever so much again, and see you next time.